I was threatened at the bar by best friend's BFBC. I told him I know his dirty secret, but my friend. The bar smelled like cheap whiskey and regret. The kind of place where secrets go to drown, but end up screaming instead. I was nursing a soda, staring at the chipped counter, when Jake, my best friend Lila's boyfriend, slid onto the stool beside me, his breath hot with menace. You say one word about what you saw, Sarah, and I swear you'll regret it, he hissed, his knuckles white around a beer bottle. It all started 3 weeks ago, when I caught Jake slipping out of a motel room with a woman who wasn't Lila. I'd been on my way to pick up Lila for our weekly coffee date when I saw him, his arm slung around some brunette, laughing like he didn't have a care in the world. Lila, my best friend since we were kids trading stickers in third grade, deserved better. She was the kind of person who'd give you her last dollar, who'd stay up all night listening to your problems while her own piled up. And Jake, he was the charming type, all dimples and promises. But I'd always sensed something off, like a snake hiding in tall grass. I didn't tell Lila right away. I wanted proof, something solid to break the news without breaking her heart more than necessary. So I started digging. A few late-night scrolls through Jake's social media, a couple of casual questions to mutual friends, and I found out the brunette was a coworker named Vanessa. They'd been seen together too often for it to be innocent. I even got my hands on a blurry photo from a friend's party, Jake and Vanessa. Too close, her hand on his chest, his smile too guilty. Last night, I couldn't hold it in anymore. Lila was gushing about Jake proposing soon, her eyes sparkling with dreams I knew he'd shatter. So I told her, not everything. Just enough I'd seen Jake with someone else, and it wasn't a one-time thing. She laughed it off at first, said I must have misunderstood, but I saw the doubt creep into her eyes, like a crack in a dam. She begged me to meet her at the bar tonight to talk it over, to clear things up with Jake there. I should have known it was a trap. Jake leaned closer now, his voice low and venomous. You think you're so smart, Sarah sticking your nose where it doesn't belong? His eyes darted to Lila, who was across the bar, oblivious, chatting with the bartender. My stomach churned. I'd known Jake was a liar, but this was a side of him I hadn't seen. The kind of guy who'd threaten you in a crowded room and know he'd get away with it. Back off, Jake, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Lila deserves to know who you really are. He smirked, but it was all teeth, no warmth. You tell her anything more, and I'll make sure everyone knows your little secret too. My heart stopped. What was he talking about? I didn't have secrets. Not like his. But the way he said it, so sure, so cruel, made my skin crawl. Was he bluffing? Or did he know something I didn't? Lila finally joined us, her smile faltering as she sensed the tension. What's going on? She asked, her voice small. I wanted to grab her, drag her out of this grimy bar, and tell her everything. But Jake's eyes were on me, daring me to speak. I took a deep breath, my mind racing. If I told her now, would she believe me or would Jake twist it? Make me the villain I'd seen how he manipulated her, how he'd turn her tears into apologies for doubting him. Nothing, I said, hating myself for it. Just catching up. Jake's smirk widened, and I felt like I'd swallowed glass. Lila frowned, her gaze flicking between us. You sure? She asked, her voice trembling. I nodded, forcing a smile, but inside I was screaming. How do you save someone who doesn't want to be saved? The night dragged on, each minute heavier than the last. Jake kept Lila close, his arm around her like a chain. I watched her laugh at his jokes, her eyes searching for something, maybe the truth, maybe reassurance. I wanted to shake her, to yell that he was a fraud, but Jake's threat echoed in my head. What did he know about me? I racked my brain, thinking of anything I'd done that he could twist. That time I'd lied to Lila about being too busy to hang out when I was just drained. The fact that I'd borrowed money from her last year and hadn't paid it all back yet, they were small, human flaws. But Jake was the kind of guy who could spin straw into poison. As the bar emptied, I made a decision. I couldn't let Jake control this. Lila was my friend, my family in every way that mattered. I'd rather lose her trust than let her stay with a man who'd betray her without blinking. I pulled her aside when Jake went to the bathroom, my heart pounding. Lila, listen to me, I whispered. Jake's cheating on you. I saw him with Vanessa, and it's not the first time. He threatened me tonight to keep me quiet. Her face crumpled, a mix of shock and pain. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She whispered, tears welling up. I started to explain, but Jake was back, his eyes narrowing. What's this? He demanded, his voice loud enough to draw stares. Lila turned to him, her voice shaking. Is it true? Jake, about Vanessa? The bar went quiet, or maybe it just felt that way, like the world held its breath. Jake's face twisted, first surprise, then rage, then something calculated. She's lying, Lila, he said, his voice smooth as oil. Sarah's jealous, always has been. She wants to break us up. My jaw dropped. Jealous. The lie was so absurd it almost made me laugh. But Lila's eyes were on me, searching, pleading for me to deny it. Lila, no, I said, my voice cracking. I'd never hurt you. He's the one lying. But Jake was already spinning his story, painting me as the bitter friend who couldn't stand their happiness. He even brought up the money I owed Lila, twisting it into proof of my dishonesty. Lila's face was a storm of emotions, confusion, betrayal, heartbreak. I need time, she said finally, her voice barely audible, and walked out, leaving me and Jake staring each other down. You'll regret this, he said, low and cold, before following her. I stood there alone, the weight of what had happened crushing me. Had I done the right thing, or had I just lost my best friend I didn't know? All I knew was that I couldn't let Jake's secret stay buried. Not if it meant Lila's happiness. But what if she never forgave me? What if Jake's lies were stronger than my truth? The next few days were torture. Lila didn't answer my calls or texts. I heard through a mutual friend that she and Jake were working things out. My heart sank. I'd gambled everything to protect her, and it felt like I'd lost. But then, late one night, my phone buzzed. It was Lila. Can we talk? Her message read. My hands shook as I typed back. Anytime. We met at our old coffee shop, the one where we'd spent countless mornings laughing and dreaming. She looked tired, her eyes red from crying, but there was something new in her expression, resolve. I confronted Jake, she said. He admitted it. Not everything, but enough. I ended it. Relief flooded me, but it was bittersweet. I'm so sorry, Lila, I said. I should have told you sooner. She shook her head. You tried. I wasn't ready to hear it. I'm sorry I doubted you. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of our friendship settling back into place, bruised but not broken. She reached for my hand. Thank you for not giving up on me. It wasn't a perfect ending. Lila was hurting, and I knew it'd take time for her to heal. Jake was out of her life, but his shadow lingered, a reminder of how easily trust can be shattered. I'd learned something too. Sometimes doing the right thing feels like tearing your own heart out, but I'd do it again. For her. What would you do if you knew your friend's partner was hiding a secret? Would you speak up, risking everything, or stay silent to keep the peace? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear where you stand. And